Hello, hello, TinaO here on Powerhouse Impact Media Group. I'm just dropping in real quick because I got to go drive my kid to work. But we just closed our Gather for Her Wisdom Circle. And for those of you who tuned in last week and caught the recap of our session with Madeleine Shaw, this was our Wisdom Circle post that conversation. And we explored three pieces in her book. She wrote her book to remind all of us that we are change makers, no matter how we self-identify or how small we might think that change may be. The example I often give is you might bake bread and think I just bake bread. I'm not a change maker. But there's something that you're doing in what calls you to bake bread that is affecting change in the world. It might be as small as that, or it might be as, a ripple of, like Mark Brand, who wants to end poverty and just spoke in front of the UN. But neither of those change-making efforts are more important than the other. And so we opened our conversation on that principle in Madeleine Shaw's book. And the question was, how are you a change maker? Or how do you see yourself as a change maker? And we did a run on that, and everybody shared their thing. And then we shifted it and said, okay, how would your best friend, or how would someone who loves you describe the change that you are in the world? Which opened up a whole other piece. And then from there, it moved into this place around, I'm a story coach. So act one of any conversation is like the establishing piece. And whether we're cognizant of it or not, it's just what happens. We're all establishing safety, in our conversation. Act two is when we get into the conflict, or the unknown, what I call the unknown. And so we moved into act two in the conversation, and it got into naming the obstacle. And the obstacle in front of change makers, the obstacle of being a change maker, the obstacle of just change itself. And what came through in this really watery, hard to put words around kind of way is that in the middle of change, you don't know the water that you're swimming in, which also comes from a book by David Wallace that I have over here called This is Water, that my friend Christina Benty, part of the braid of Powerhouse, gave me. And that the obstacle is that when you don't know the water that you're in, while you are also in change, so when the world is in change and you're change making, which means consistently out in the unknown, that obstacle feels very ungrounded. Feels very, very ungrounded. You're consistently swimming, but you don't even know you're in water. And then Madeleine, a different Madeleine in our shared this, and I'm naming her specifically because she's the youngest one in the group, and she said this incredibly profound thing about, and I'm probably not going to articulate it right, but basically she said, some of us are sitting on the lid of the pool, pointing at the water, thinking we're swimming in water, but we're actually just on the lid pointing. And there really is this space of completely embracing the unknown. And the only way to do that and be in it is to absolutely live each change-making moment from a place of deep, deep faith. Not necessarily in faith that there's a plan, but faith in the unknown. Faith in the unknown itself. Trust in the unknown itself. And not passive trust because we're a participant in it, but like deep gut trust as the change maker you are. Which then moved us into the third act of our conversation. Was like, okay, well, that's really hard. So what is needed to fortify, using a word that came up in our last Gather for Her conversation with Madeleine Shaw? She used the word fortify, and community fortifies you, fortifies your change making and your ability to affect change. And so we as a group collectively shared, what do we need to feel fortified enough to continue on our change making path? So I want to share that with you because Gather for Her is a gathering spot every Wednesday morning. The first Wednesday, we have a guest, a change maker, and listen to their wisdom and have a emergent conversation like we had with Madeleine Shaw. And then the following Wednesday, we unpack it as a group. You're always invited to come and be part of the change with us. At Powerhouse, we're a house of leaders for global impact, and media is the beat of our drum. Media is our change-making tool. Media is the container for the change-making model that Powerhouse has in it. And if you're on the leader path with us as an individual change maker, you're in a rhythm and in a community with other change makers. And if you're an organization that is embracing this space of change the world is in, know that we're here to support you and the story that's emerging of you as a change maker. So I'm TinaO from Powerhouse, part of the Braid. Thanks for hanging in with me today, and we will see you on the path of the leader path, and we will gather with you at Gather for Her. Go to powerhouse.com and check out the different tabs and come and walk with us because we're already walking with you. Okay, see you next week.